All right. I don't. Did y'all say something about me? Okay. All right. I believe yes, we are live. All right. Well, welcome to the show, y'all. Okay, this is our first time. This is my first time doing a show with multiple people, and these are my two favorite people. They may no, they're not the only people that I've had on my show, but they are my two favorite people because I feel like Coach Marshaun and Dr. L have the best conversations, and so you guys are in for a treat because we're going to talk about what it's like to be single, like the impacts of being single too long, and especially as we age. I feel like it is something that we have to deal with, right? The consequences of being in our own space for too long. So before we even start, can y'all hear me okay? Because I know last time you guys said that my microphone was too low. Do I sound loud enough, or do I sound really low to the folks who are listening? If you can just like say up or down, just let me know. I sound okay, Mimi? Okay, thank you. All right, well, so today, y'all, we have Dr. L and Coach Marshaun. So Coach Marshaun has been with us, been with me on my show a couple of times, so I appreciate it. Coach Marshaun, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Perfect. So I am Coach Marshaun Olanio. I am a shift relationship strategist, and I help single Black women that are sick and tired of being single. They're sick and tired of trying to figure things out on their own, not understanding where to start. And so we take a deep dive into working on oneself ideally, before you get into your next relationship. However, if you're in a relationship, we still work on you first before we even deal with the relationship.
Okay, thank you. Understood, and you're right. Dr. L, my favorite male guest, Dr. L, you go ahead and introduce yourself, hon.
I appreciate that. That's high praise. Thank you so much. So I am Dr. L. I am a retired police officer turned life coach turned a bunch of other hats that I wear. So I'm trying to figure out this mating and dating game after being married for a number of years and then getting back out here. And when I came back out here, I'm like, what the heck happened to dating?
Mm,
What
mm.
happened? So I'm trying to figure this out. But yeah, so I started off talking to men, wanting to improve men, until the lovely ladies asked me my opinion about this, that, and the other. So here we are. So
Okay, I see. She says there's a lot of single white women sick of the same thing. I hear you. Yeah, women, period. And I don't even think just women. I think men are because Dr. You're gonna represent the men, and that's why I have you. Because one thing I don't like to do, I do not like to speak for men on my platform. Like that is one thing I don't. I have raised three sons, and I still don't claim to know the ins and out of men. So Dr. You're going to provide the masculine voice. So Coach Marshaun, now you and I were talking about like, okay, you and I go live every 3 weeks,
Mhm.
and we were trying to come up with a topic. Now, Coach Marshaun, what is your relationship status?
I am single, 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 not mingling, no friends with benefits. I'm single, single.
Okay, single, single. Dr. L, what is your relationship? Uh,
look at all those caveats she had to put in
No
there.
single. Listen, because people be
What
like, "You single, but are you
situationship?
dating?" And then people ask me, "Well, what's going on with the sex?" So I just single, single. I'm single, single.
You got because that one word don't do it anymore. You're right. You
It
got to
don't. It don't.
bob and weave and get all this other stuff. So I am pretty much in the same situation. I am single. Blah, blah, blah. So everything is good. So
what the hell was that? So,
You
okay,
know
Coach
what? Wow.
Marshawn is single, single. You not you just your representative is single.
I am
Ooh,
absolutely 100%.
wait, Dr. L, she already covered for you.
His
I'm single.
representative is
I'm single.
single. Okay, but okay. Oh, she said it's much lower. See, they said my sound is much lower than the others, and I don't know why. Let me see. Okay, let me
You
turn. I'm
sound
gonna
fine
try
to
to.
me, but go
I
by the order.
know it sounds fine, like for us. So I don't know how to turn the gain up on the microphone. I got this $400 microphone, and there are no other buttons for me to push to turn this thing up. Can is it Kawili? Is that better or it's not better? Because if not, I'm gonna just have to speak directly into my. I can maybe speak into
That's what we had to do
You're
last
clear.
time. Go back to your
Yeah,
iPod.
speaking to the AirPods. My apologies, y'all. I have not been able to figure out why my microphone is much lower than the others. This because it's because they are using mics. I hear you fine. Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to keep going. Okay. So, Coach Marshaun. Now you and I were chatting about when you do start dating, because I was like, girl, you ain't dating at all. You ain't getting no sex. You ain't doing nothing. I mean, the coochie just dry. Like, you ain't doing nothing out here. And she said no, she's not. So we talked about, well, when you do get into a relationship, what do you think some of those things, some of those demons are going to be? Like, when are you going to be able to show up to compromise, share your space? Like, what do you think some of those things are going to be when you've been single for, how many years have you been single? Single.
Right. Single. Let's say about 2.5. Yeah.
Okay, that ain't that damn long. That ain't long. that ain't long.
It's longer than some other people that talk about they single. Okay. But anywho.
Yeah, we don't know how long Dr. L been single. When I was strictly single, I was single over 8 years. So, and then when I got into a relationship, so yeah, I had issues, but I want to know from your perspective, what are some challenges that you think you will face when you actually do meet somebody?
I think that the biggest challenge that I can foresee is not necessarily being able to relinquish control, if you will. It's more of him seeing what he's bringing to the table so I can relinquish the control, so I can take off my masculine hat, if you will. The last relationship that I was in, and actually it was my marriage, I came off as the masculine, but it was also because of how he was showing up. And I'm not saying that he was feminine, but the quality, right? So I was the breadwinner. So there was that, even though that wasn't a big deterrent for me. So there was the breadwinner, but then I was making all the decisions. And even when I would go to him to get his opinion or ask, what, how we moving, his answer was never solid. He didn't have a plan. And so that would be the biggest deterrent or issue for me. He has to have a master plan, if you will, especially if that word submission comes into play. I have no problem submitting. You just have to be able to lead me so I can submit, so I can be that feminine that so many people are looking for, specifically men are looking for.
Dr. L, you and I have talked about this, and I have a very strong view on it, but I'm going to ask you your view. When we talk about, and I know I love to talk about the masculine and feminine, because hell, I got the book called Ladies Leave Your Dick at Home, right? Because I was very much so in my masculine energy. Dr. L, do you think that a man can, let's say, I don't want to say make a woman more feminine, but create the environment? Like, how does a man play a role at all in a woman's feminine energy? Her being feminine in a relationship. Do you think, in your masculine opinion, does a man's role have anything to do with a woman's feminine side in a relationship?
I don't think you've ever asked me that question before. That's a new one.
I ain't asked you this question.
I don't think so. Not the way you just expressed it right there. I don't think
well,
so.
let's hear it, doctor. Let's hear it, though.
I'm willing to answer it. No, I don't. Actually, I think that I think a man should show up the way that he shows up. I think that a man should do everything that you are asking for. Be a leader, protector, provider, show up with masculine qualities, be competent, confident. I definitely think that. Now, I've heard that there is, when these types of situations, when the guy is presenting in that way, then almost to Coach Marshaun's point that the woman would then submit and then follow his lead. I would ask the question, why? I mean, why would you allow yourself to be in a situation wherein you're not confident in his competence? I mean, why would you give yourself physically to a man who is not there? That's just a struggle that I would have. I've asked my daughter the same question. She had a situation. can't say too much. She'll be calling me up. But she had a situation where she didn't really feel confident in this dude. I'm like, why am I hearing about this? Dump the dude, right? I mean, what are we talking about here? So, I don't know how much of that I buy. I mean, I've heard that said, that they were willing to follow a man who can lead. Okay, but what are you doing in the meantime? Are you still sleeping with them? Are you still making the sandwiches? I mean, what? I don't get that. I don't get that perspective. I think that a man should set the tone. Yes, a man should set the tone. Should be a leader, protector, provider, competent, confident, all that kind of stuff. And then you look for what you look for. That's what I think.
Okay, but so we're talking about when you're single too long, and so let me just scale it back a little bit and tie the two together, right? Because when a woman has been grinding, and it don't even mean she's single too long. She could literally be 24 years old, but she has just been taking care of herself, right? So, but today's show is she's been single too long, and so what happens? She's doing everything. And Coach Marshaun has your child is 8 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then when you are raising a child and you are taking care of everything in the household, you are used to doing, right? You are so used to doing that when somebody comes along and tries to show up and say, hey, let me help you. You be like, shit, I've been doing this, I've been grinding, so, okay, we meet men, it's like, well, how do we test if they are able to lead? Like Dr. L, okay, based on what you was just saying, how can a woman test that before she be making the sandwiches and still sleeping with them and doing all those other things, before she gets to that? What are some things that she can look for to say, you know what, this is a man who can lead versus this is a BA person?
We got you. I
was about to say the third word. It almost came out the tip of my tongue.
The dog donkey ninja.
Right.
Female donkey dog ninja.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. That question for you, Dr. L.
Oh, is it for me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I legit said your name.
Oh, okay. So the question is, how does a woman test to see if the man?
How can she test? Yes, how can she?
I think I struggle with the term test, but I think that you should be able to see certain qualities. Is he a gentleman? Does he open up car doors? Does he go to work? Does he have a job? Does he pay his bills? I mean, I think you're entitled to ask all those types of questions when in the first, few days of talking to him. When you get somebody's number, what are y'all talking about on the phone? I mean, you got to get all that information. Where do you work at? Do you have a house? Do you have an apartment? I mean, where do you live? All those types of things are tests of certain levels of competence. So those are things you should be looking for. I mean, what's his relationship like with his kids, with his mother? What do you have a baby mama? How many baby mamas do you have? These are all questions you got to ask. And so, so these questions aren't just about him and how much time you're going to get or spend with him or how much time he can give you is the baby mama question. No, you want to know, is this man responsible? Is he responsible with his seed? Or is he just going out here just spreading all over the place? That's the real question that you're asking, or at least you should be asking. Not so much how many baby mamas do you have? That's irrelevant. How responsible are you? How much of forethought do you put into what you're doing in life? You you have a 401k. What kind of car do you drive? And it's not necessarily about the style of the car. I mean, you can tell both. You can tell something by whatever answer he gives you. If he drives an older car and he's got a fairly decent job, he might be thrifty, or he makes enough to buy a brand new car, and therefore his credit is good, or whatever. So these are different things that you should see along the way. First date. How does he treat the waiter? How does he treat you? Does he open up doors? How's his conversation? Those are all things you got to be looking for.
Mm-hmm. And you think, just so I understand, do you think that directly ties into his ability to lead?
I think
provide and protect.
Yeah, if he has a job, he should be able to do that. I mean, you should be able to know. You can do some Googling. How much does this job pay? I think those are some of the qualities starting off. Here's what I'm saying. If you're starting to figure out that this man can't lead when you're 3 years in a relationship, that's not his problem. That's your problem.
Okay.
I like it.
That's your problem.
Okay.
You didn't do your job correctly. You didn't vet him. You didn't make sure he said where he worked was true. You didn't see if he could take you out on a date and his card was getting declined. You didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. So that's your problem. That's your fault. And next thing you know, sleeping with a man, getting emotionally tied to this man who has no capabilities of leading or directing and all that.
Okay, you're not gonna come up on here and put us women on blast. I'm gonna tell you right now, Dr. L, you're not gonna do that because it takes two people to be in a relationship, right? And it takes two of us to. So let's talk. Okay, because you're the man here. Okay, but let's flip the script. You've been single a minute. Let's just say you've been single a minute. You get with a woman, and what are some things that men can do, right, to identify if a woman in your, how would you vet a woman? How would you properly vet a woman? Give some men advice on how can they properly vet a woman before she start, I shared that meme with you with the what was it, the blue, not the blue pill brother, the red pill brother. But he had
the passport brother.
The passport brother. But in the picture he had two blue pills because he gonna need that in Asia, right? When he go and get his thing, right? Before people, decide to go that route and become a passport bro. So we talking about a legitimate, nice, young or older man, a gentleman. Like, how can he properly vet a woman?
So I think he's going to do the same thing. How's her conversation? What's her relationship like with her kids? He's going to, does she work? Where's her goals? What's her education? I think all those types of preliminary types of questions are essential to getting to know someone and all that. And you have to pay attention. Men too have to be not so much concerned about the big butt and the smile, but you
say
have
that again. Mm-hmm.
Beep, beep, beep.
I know. I say that again. I ain't got no booty, so y'all really gonna have to be okay with this damn smile.
So you gotta pay. There's not enough vetting that's going on around here. People are getting with people because of very superficial, very atavistic, very animalistic, very primordial type of thinking. Just about physical attraction. We're not vetting for jobs and security and income and all this type of stuff, right? So those are some of the things that you have to vet, that you have to look for. How does she treat the waitress? How does she treat other people when she's out? Is she a nurturing woman? Does she care about you? If you're let's just say, you do go to her house one day and, what's the upkeep of the house look like? Does she make you a sandwich? Does she offer water? And it depends on what you're looking for. I think the vast majority of men are looking for someone who's very nurturing. And if you're not nurturing, it's over. I mean, for me, it's over. I mean, I don't need another dude. I'm man enough. I don't need another one here. So.
Nurturing because
I like
for a nurse wife.
What's wrong with that?
What do you mean? What's wrong with that? No, it's a lot wrong with that.
You're looking for a provider, right? You're looking for a provider.
No. Let me. Okay, hold on, Doctor. A nurse wife is somebody, a woman. Let's say me. God willing, I'm still physically healthy. A man who's looking for a nurse wife is looking for somebody to come on in, wipe his booty. Right. Put his little CPAP machine on and, all that stuff that comes with taking care of somebody. And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to be your wife, not your nurse. Right. And so we find that a lot of men as they get older, I'm not saying all men, but a lot of men as they get older, they're really looking for somebody to take care of them, not necessarily be their life partner. I'm not saying all men. I'm not saying you, Dr.
I understand that. And I think that, the times that we're living in is ladies, and I'm not saying you're saying this. I want to really try to say this correctly, is that ladies don't want to do the roles that our mothers and grandmothers did. Now, I advocate for men to take care of themselves, to go for walks and take care of yourself. And I advocate, I'm saying it clearly here that if you're a man and your health is not 100%, you can't do certain things, and you are looking just for someone to wipe your tail and take care of you like that, I think that's wrong, foul, and you shouldn't do that. But I also want to push back against this narrative that a lot of ladies are saying that they don't want to do those types of things because we're all going to get old. I mean, that's just that we're all going to get old, and you're going to want to take care of me the way I'm going to want to take care of you. And I find it very ironic that a lot of times the conversations, I don't want to be a nurse, I don't want to be a person, this, that, and the other, but have no problem saying to the man, you need to be a protector and provider and leader. Well, if I got a role to play, then what is your role to play?
I hear that. Now I do. I do. And Coach Marshaun, I want you to weigh in on that. Like, let's say you get back, when you get
Hold
back
on,
her
my
back on.
speaker's broken. Hold on, I think my speaker's broken because I
Okay.
asked the question. I didn't get the answer.
Oh
I
no,
don't know.
I didn't hear it. I think because you on that hotel Wi-Fi.
Okay.
We know you traveling, so so we appreciate you being here. But I think you're on the hotel Wi-Fi. What was your question? I apologize, I didn't hear it.
No, I was just saying, if I have a role to play as leader, protector, provider, what is the role that you or another woman would bring to the table? That's one of my questions.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let Coach Marshaun answer that one.
You know what? You made a lot of valid points, to be quite frank. But to answer this particular question, I would say that it really depends on the couple, right? Because I know a lot of times we are generalizing men to do this and women to do that. Across the board, everybody is not going to be set up the exact same way, meaning the couple themselves. So we have to be willing to have those deeper conversations to say, hey, these are my strong areas. These are my strong areas. And so this is how I can show up, right? And it might not be the protector per se, right? It might not be the protector or the provider per se, but these are the conversations that we need to have, because just because we talking about masculine and feminine energy, each sex has both sets of characteristics, right? So you just have to be open to have the deeper conversations with your partner so it works out for your relationship, and forget what society has to say about how you should show up as a woman, how you should show up as a man. As long as the two of you can build upon a relationship together, then I think that is something that we need to pay attention to. Dr. L, you were actually talking, that's my answer there. Does that make sense?
I got you loud and clear.
Okay. So Dr. L, earlier you mentioned that essentially it's her problem if it's been about 3 years into the relationship and she's been doing and giving herself and essentially acting as if she's wife, whether she has the title. And I know that's not the words that you use, but that's what I gathered. So how about she asked a lot of those deeper questions and she found out that it was the representative that was showing up. And then years later, this person, now the true person, has come out.
I think those are questions we can always ask, later on down the road, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. The best you can do is just do the vetting process. This fear that we have about changing up is probably on both sides. Men have a drastic fear that the ladies that they have come to know, to love, had their children, are going to take them to divorce court, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, that's a fear that they have. Mm-hmm. It's a fear that I guess ladies one day will wake up with this guy who was putting on a charade and really isn't a leader, doesn't want to work, quit his job, turn to the LGBT, all these different fears. Mm-hmm. The best you can do is the best you can do. And just vet, keep asking questions, and just trust. Otherwise, I mean, if we're going to operate in fear of what could be, this is a part of the problem. I can't answer what could happen if later on down the road, if he's putting on a front or whatever. You got to do the best due diligence that you know how. I had a friend on the police department. She would tell me about this guy, and he was living in Florida, and she was in Connecticut where I was, but she would go down to see him. And every time she was down there, she'd look around his house. And then one day she went down there one day she was at work in Connecticut, and then she got a phone call. It was from his wife. And she's like, how are you married? right? And she's like, I looked around the man's house, didn't see no evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever he did, and she said, she's telling me the whole conversation how it went down. Like, I've been living there for whatever this amount of time. I'm like, they had to be separated or something. You went through this man's house, you didn't see nothing. She's like, I didn't see nothing. So I mean, this is just where we're at. I mean, you got to do your due diligence. You got to make sure that things are straight and clear, and you just gotta you have to be. I'm not saying snooping around, but you got to do your due diligence to figure out who what this man is. Does he really work here? Have you ever dropped him off at work? Right? Not like Tommy from Martin, right? Have you ever dropped a man off of work? Right? You've seen his taxes. What you've seen. You gotta have all this information. It's a shame that we got to operate this way, but it is what it is.
Okay. Well, somebody asked a really good question, but I do want to touch up on High Vibe. Hey, High Vibe. The question that I have on this, not the question, but the comment when we were talking about the nurse wife thing, and she's 100% correct, because data has shown that. She says we don't get the same care in return. That's the issue. That the data has shown that when we've talked about this, Dr. L, so I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but that data has shown that if a woman gets sick, men are by far more likely to bounce. Right. And women, will stick around and play, because that is the role that we play. Right. The nurturer, a caretaker, and, the motivator, the influencer. That is what being feminine is. However, we honestly often, I'm just saying what the data shows. OK, I'm just saying the data shows that men don't stick around like we do with the men. It is what it is. I ain't asking for your comment. That's why I'm gonna keep on moving, Doctor.
I haven't seen that data. I bit my tongue earlier, so I'm kind of having a little pain here. Okay. I haven't seen that data, but okay. I mean, I'm not gonna refute it. I mean, listen, I think the guy's got to stick around. I mean, you got to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
My critiques go both ways. You got to be in this thing. If you're gonna be in a long-term relationship, or if you're going to be in a marriage, you got to be in it. So I get the same smoke that I have. I mean, if I had a friend who just like, man, my girl came down with cancer, I just can't, I'm out of here. I'm like, dude, don't you ever call me again, man. That's foul, man. So you got to be in it. So if you're a man and you're in a relationship, if you're a man, then be a man and be in a relationship.
I'm not gonna say what was on the tip of my tongue, because you stressed it, be a man, but the problem, never mind. I'ma just keep it moving. And all right, so a peaceful life. No, that's not the question. But hey, peaceful life. Quality men are already in your friend zone. Yes, probably. I'm not gonna
say some of that's true. I can say some of that's true. Some of that's true.
I'm not going to dispute
that.
Okay.
Coach Marshaun is giving an amen choir to that. You want
some of that's true for sure.
That. That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. He's not tall enough. Oh man, he don't make it.
Oh, it's that Wi-Fi.
I started talking to him. He got.
No, but okay, no, I think that really is common as we're younger. I think, because the when you're younger, you got the whole playing field. I feel like you got the whole playing field, right? You're 20, 22, 24, 25, right? Well, I got forever in a day. I can get this man, that man, and I could get his daddy, right? Like you got all of that. You got all of that out there. But as you get older, like we got to be more realistic, right? So I think as we get older, like, okay, you know what? I went for that type of man back in the day, the thug and all that. You get older, you learn. You can shake your head. How you gonna tell me as a woman? I know. I know as a woman.
I'm shaking my head because you're giving these ladies grace. Why aren't we saying, we're all mature, saying to stop thinking this way? To the young ladies out there, you got to get this man now. Get him in his 20s.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but it is what we have done. Okay, I ain't saying it's the right thing to do, but it is what we have done.
This is on both sides.
Y'all too. Sure. Y'all want the flat stomach and the fat ass and the perky titties. I mean, them women. I mean, we get 50, 55, 60. I mean, my boob, like I say up here. I mean, it was up here. It ain't even in the screen no damn more. So it's just like you can't. You we both of us, we have to be realistic, right? So y'all too was going for, the big button and smile too. Come on now, like don't just put it all on women that we were the only ones doing that. Y'all was doing it too. But I want to show this. Okay, Crystal Wilson. Hey girl, where do you meet quality men? Online is not working. Now, as a man, I'm gonna let you answer that, Doctor. Like, where do you, at you and your friends, if you find yourself to be a quality man, like where do you hang out? Where can
Um,
somebody meet a good man that's not on, or what you think about online dating too? Do both.
yeah, I'm not in favor of online dating. I think that there's too much filtering that goes on, and it's creating an unrealistic standard. So I'm not a fan of online dating. I think that it's too easy just to say, oh, his beard is too long. Oh, his beard is too short. Oh,
You're too low.
yeah, I don't like his earlobes are attached instead of hanging. What are we? It's just too easy. It's too easy.
It's
So,
true though. It's true.
but when you get to know someone, when you sit with somebody, meet them, your pheromones start going, you have a conversation. I think you can meet people. I think you got to be outgoing. You can meet people at airport, different functions, political functions, depending on what type of man you're looking for. I know that a lot of ladies now are going to these different conventions, tech kind of conventions, looking for these tech guys that they used to blow off, right? The guys that are in the friend zone, the V don't want to talk about, and that kind of stuff, right?
Those are the nerdy ones.
Yeah,
The nerdy
the
ones. The
nerdy
nerdy
ones, right?
ones.
We
Yeah.
put them on the back burner, and we'll come over there when later on in life, when we finish having our hot girl summer, spring and fall. Um, so I mean, I advocated for guys, maybe guys in the Top Golf or something like that. Meet them at these different spot ventures like that. Maybe during football season, go to a nice bar where the guys are doing their thing, watching the games, and just sit there with a book and just be presentable. So I think you can meet them anywhere. A lot of times grocery stores are still good. Guys, he's in there shopping, presumably. So don't be afraid to, and don't, you have to be approachable. Resting B face is not it. And
Yeah.
so those are just some of the places and things, and it's mostly about attitude. It's really about attitude and you being present. If you see a guy that you were interested in, ain't nothing wrong with you giving him the eye. 2-second looks or whatever y'all do. I don't get those looks. I don't know how it goes.
Dr. L, stop
Okay,
it.
so
Stop
if a woman, and as we get older, right, we might be a little. I'm not a shy person, but I know there are some people that are, especially the old. Let's say 60 and up. But let's just say people who are a little, probably grew up being more ladylike than because I think 25. I feel like the age of the being ladylike is kind of like going down. But somebody who was taught to, okay, girl, no, don't chase. And I don't believe in chasing, but don't approach a man, let him approach you and all that other stuff. Is it okay for a woman to approach a man? Would you be turned off if a woman approached you? And if not, then how can she approach a man to let her know that she's interested?
Child,
Oh,
approach. Please approach. Go ahead, Dr. L, but approach, like for real.
No, go ahead. You got it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What
yep.
we do it like. I've always had this conversation, so excuse me for being rude. Right? Was that unladylike right there?
No, you're good. I'll give you a pass this time.
Thank you. So here's the thing, because I had to have this conversation multiple times with clients and even friends, and I am not the afraid one to approach. What I found, because I'm not doing it right now, but what I found when I was approaching is that I went out on a lot more dates because I was approaching. They didn't necessarily go anywhere per se with all of them, and I'm not looking for all to go anywhere. However, I feel like people miss out on the man that they want to approach them because they're too scared to get up. They're too scared to go and say because of rejection. All of us get rejected. Every time that I approach, it didn't turn out where we exchanged numbers and went out. However, my numbers were significantly higher than my friends and even some family members when I did approach. because I would just go and say something simple,
Mm-hmm.
whether they had a nice smile or smelt good.
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously had to get close enough to smell them. But I like to go and give just the compliment, just to open up the door. But that's also me not
Yeah.
being shy. So I always
Mm-hmm.
advise my clients right now to approach, because you're going to
Yeah.
stand out even more to the men, because most women don't approach.
Mm-hmm.
But please let me know if I'm wrong, Dr. L.
No, I think I think that I think we're living in some crazy times as far as the whole approach conversation. Guys don't know when they can. You know, the whole Me
Yeah.
Too movement. Don't
Mm.
Miles put in there meet people at the gym. We don't know when we can and cannot approach you. And there's videos out here saying don't approach us in the grocery store. I'm shopping. Don't approach me in the parking lot.
Really?
You sound like you look creepy. I've seen them. Yeah. So it's so I think I don't know how much I would say about how flirtatious you want to get, but I certainly think that eye contact, or at least asking a question, or you got an interesting name, or if you hear somebody their name getting announced at Starbucks or something like that, just something to let them know it's okay to talk to me, because I think, and it's unfortunate what I'm about to say, because I think that a lot of guys have just been beaten down by the Me Too movement and by these other things that are going on, where they don't know that it's okay to approach. You sit in
Mm-hmm.
at your jobs. You've been to sexual harassment training, right? Can I talk to this woman or not?
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know what I can do. And guys are in a state of confusion, and so that makes the men seem weak. Oh, real man would talk to me. A real man would be approaching, but a real man don't want to get arrested and harassed
Mm-hmm.
and kicked
Mm-hmm.
out of a store and kicked out of a gym because he wants to have a conversation because he finds you attractive. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that this is just the time that we're living in. It's a difficult time.
No,
So
you're right. And I know Crystal Wilson, I agree with this comment wholeheartedly. People are checked out.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
yes, and I talk about this as well. Like, you might see somebody attractive, and everybody's on their phone and nobody's paying attention. So yes, if part of being approachable is to put the daggone phone down,
I'm
right?
sorry, I
And
wasn't
pay.
what? Go ahead.
Okay, you know what, Doctor, I'm about to exit you. I'm a remove from this space. No, but I do see it, like, and I watch people, because I like to watch people, right? And I watch them, and it's like, okay, I will even be looking, and I'd love to, like, I'm like you, Coach Marshaun. I love to give compliments. I will give any and every women, men.
Mhm,
If you look
mhm,
good,
mhm.
you smell good, whatever, I'm gonna give you a compliment. You doing it. I have given, like, girl, just a random older white guy jogging one day. I was like, ooh, your body look good, and he looked good for somebody probably 65 years old, and he was like, oh, he almost ran into a tree, But the thing is, like, I do believe that, but in order to see people, you do got to put your daggone phone down,
Mhm.
okay? And that is a huge part of being approachable. Yes, and the resting bee face,
Can you
yes.
I don't know if you can take a poll. I mean, I'd like to know if the ladies want to be approached. I don't know how many people are watching, but do the ladies want to be approached? They
We
feel
have
comfortable doing that?
92 people on,
Okay.
and if the ladies, I mean, do you, well, y'all go ahead. I don't know if I could do a poll, but y'all go ahead and leave comments if it's, do you still prefer to be approached, and are you okay with approaching?
Let me see if I could do it on my side.
Okay, well, I see they saying yes. So I'm assuming the yes is for y'all are good with being approached. I want to be approached. So they are saying they do want to be approached. So it's like, how what would how would you know, Dr. L, that it's okay for you to approach? What is a green light in your eyes? And yeah, and I know you can't speak for all men across the world, okay, but if you're a man in the comments, leave a comment. Like, what is a green light, for you guys to know that it's okay to approach me?
Um, that's a good question. I would look for eye contact. Um, yeah. Sometimes I would just do it. I mean, maybe I didn't catch eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you were just so attractive. I just said, okay, let me just take a shot in the dark. But mostly it's eye contact. That's what I would say. That's the
Eye
biggest thing.
contact.
If I look at you for a second or two, and then you give me a second or two back, then I'm good with that. I think that's the biggest thing. I can't really think of anything else that I would be like, okay, it's good to approach her. So I can't really think.
Okay, a good eye contact, maybe a nice smile, like some inviting eyes. Like if I looked at you and was like, Negro, like what the hell,
Yeah,
you don't want them
without
kind of eyes. Oh, he's a Wi-Fi.
You know what?
Y'all, I told him, I said, you need that cord, when you traveling. Yeah, what somebody say, he was a passport bro here. But no, he's not, but look at his Wi-Fi. Look at the Wi-Fi at the hotel. Okay, so, I do coach Marshaun. I agree with you until he comes back to planet Earth on our YouTube channel. Right. Oh, you back.
I'm
You
sorry.
back.
I'm sorry. I'm
It's
gonna try
okay.
to.
We
I should have
understand.
boosted up.
I know it's we know it's the the Wi-Fi. Okay, so it is having the inviting eyes, the not just the eye contact, but the inviting eyes. Now, on the flip side, are you okay? Because some of us have been single a very long time, and we got to dust our shoulders off and get back out here. Are you okay with? Because I do have I have a controversial question, kind of controversial. So I'm gonna ask it after this in a second. But firstly, are you okay with women approaching you?
This is me. I tend to not catch signals a lot. So if you come up to me starting a conversation, I'm like, oh, she just wanted a conversation. Then I'll be like, wait a minute. I mean, so sometimes I just don't catch signals.
Okay.
But I mean, I probably would not prefer overly flirtatious because I think that would just be a turnoff. But if it's something very, very subtle, then I don't mind it. Because, I'm speaking about this, not knowing what I recognize that it may come off as less masculine, but guys just don't know a lot of times. We just don't know. And if I'm missing signals, I'm just missing, right? And I know that other guys too, they just don't catch signals. And couple that with not only missing signals, but just being apprehensive about this environment that we're in.
Okay. I know Miles said that men don't care, that an approach would surprise most. I mean, that kind of backs up what you said, that you probably wouldn't even notice it. So it is fine for women to approach, but not be like, you want this booty tonight? Not like that,
Lord,
but it's
that's too
more
much.
so, hey, I really like you have a nice soft beard. It would be like, you have a nice soft beard. Oh, it looks soft. Not like, oh, I wonder what that feels like between my thighs. Right? It's not that flirting. It's just
But
a
that's not. Listen, that's not. Listen,
Papa Smurf.
I've had ladies say that to me. Oh, this is a nice beard, or whatever. Start a conversation. Okay, well, let me know this because I'm gonna go get it from my husband. Wait a minute. We just
They
had
gonna
this.
get the beard for the. Okay, you done skipped the line.
I'm saying the beard product. We
Beard
have a
product. Oh,
conversation-
okay.
We have a conversation about what I do to my beard, keep it, whatever. And then I just kind of skip over some stuff. And next thing you know, I got a husband at home or my boyfriend or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Guys, sometimes you think this is why she's saying this, and next thing you know, it's that. One time I was in a grocery store and we were talking about something. We were having it was like a minute, two. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this girl's number. Next thing you know, her boyfriend comes around the corner. Okay, so we don't know a lot of times. We don't know.
Well, now, okay, a Peaceful Life said, if y'all not attracted, don't matter what she does. Like, but can y'all at least okay, that's fine, because I've had all kinds of men approach me, right? I was at the car wash and he was like, can I put some tire shine on your car? He was like 83 years old. Okay. And if you look in the camera, I don't look 83 years old. And I was like, oh no, I said, no. I said, I'm tired. I said, you don't have to do that. I appreciate that. And I'm respectful. I am always respectful. So can I please ask to the men, like, it takes, period. It takes a lot of guts for people to approach anybody. So can we please be respectful if you're not interested? Let's not be nasty. Let's be kind. Okay. Can we at least agree on that? What you about to say?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, good. Okay. So we're getting back out here on the dating scene, right? And yeah, we all come with our own baggage. We've been single, folks have been single a very long time. Now we got to get back on the horse and go for it. What Coach Marshaun, and I'm gonna ask both of y'all this question from two different point of views. Okay, from the man's point of view and the woman's point of view. We're back out here. We all y'all two on the first date. Y'all I'm like, okay, we vibing. Okay, I like the conversation. I like this. She has inviting eyes. Y'all decide to have sex that night after the first date. Okay, after the first date. Is that a deal breaker for you? Is it for Dr. L? If a woman,
Wait a minute, you just said it was for my son.
No, I said for both of y'all. I said for both of y'all. No,
I want both. First, Doc. Come on now.
I want the male's perspective, and in the comments, please. Because like we dusty out here. We dusty rusty. We trying to figure out like what is that a no? Is that a deal breaker? Like if y'all to get intimate the first night, or should she, try to hold on to her pearls and her Bible for a few dates? Like. From a male's perspective, like, because let's say Coach Marshaun, we already said, Coach, she ain't doing nothing. She chilling. Okay, she chilling. She might get the urge. Me, might get the damn urge, so is it okay? Like, is it okay, or do is it a automatic deal breaker? I ain't gonna keep talking, okay? And you know what the hell I'm saying.
I'm not gonna interrupt. I'm waiting for you to finish. It's not. It's. I would say it's 95% of the time it's gonna be a red flag and a deal breaker.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna take the cookie, but it's like.
Let's make it plain. Make it plain. I'm gonna take it though.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. But yeah, I think 95% of the time that's the way it's gonna be. Yeah.
Okay, I see some Miles said, okay, he gonna pass if it's offered on the first date. Sunny side up with Liz. Yep, she said some men will lose interest if sex on the first date happens. Okay, all right, and I wear glasses. Is that Rune Belly? Okay, I've been single for a while. First date is still a no for me. Okay, Coach Marshaun. I mean, what if what would you advise your clients or yourself?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to younger me. Younger me did this. Younger me got married behind this, right?
Okay. See, look, she got married. See, somebody put a ring on it. Okay.
but right, unicorn, if you will. But now more mature me. That's not something that I'm willing to do. Just because now more mature me, I know more of the type of man that I want, the type of life that I want, and who I'm willing to give my body to. So there's definitely more vetting for sure going into it. Okay. But then just also, I'm looking for something deeper. Yes, we know that sex plays a big part in it. But I know as we age, that's going to fall back and it's going to be more of a companionship. And so, or at least maybe it won't fall back for everybody, but that's beside the point, right? Beside the point. It has to be deeper at this point than just bringing sex to the table. And so to answer the actual question, first date me is a no for sex.
I'm going to need Ebony Moore as a phone number.
And now that's my best friend. You better back up off her. She just got married.
Oh.
You know what?
Wow. See, there's flirtation going on there.
But listen, Ebony, he did just say he'll take it. But it's probably a 95%. No, he did just say that, though. I'm just saying.
No, okay. So, damn, I had a point. I just lost it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I was single, I will tell you, when I was single for a very long time, I was single for a long time, and I was married for a long time, and then I became single. I know a lot of women have these conversations on online dating, and they feel like men start to have the sex question right away, and it's like, damn, is everybody online looking for booty? Because, men will start to have the sex questions right away, right? And so my thing is this. I, too, would ask questions sexually right away. But it wasn't about not the first or the second conversation, maybe the third, but it wasn't about what's your favorite position, because y'all men I felt like would ask that. No, I know that sex is important to me. I mean, my biggest video was about having sex. So sex is important to me. So if there are certain things that a man does not believe in the bedroom, that include using this, I was automatically, you're out, you're out. Like, it's not because I want to talk about, but this is a sex conversation is also a qualifier, right? Like, I'm not going to waste my time and allow you to court me for 6 months just to find out that you don't believe your mouth should be used besides sucking on, the juice out of a straw, So I'm like, so you kind of have to have some type of conversations, I'm not saying give it up on the first date, but hey, if we have sex on the first date, just consider that an interview, I'm just like, cause I'm like, shh. Don't be looking at me like that. I'm with Ebony. I'm just like, I'm with Ebony. I'm gonna ride with her. I'm like she said, we're grown. Now, I may not have wanted that person for anything more than that either. Don't automatically assume that just because you took me on a date that I'm ready to marry you either. Like, women have choices too. Like, maybe she also, maybe she was just trying to get her rocks off. So I have a different perspective. I'm not looking at every date that I went on as my one and only true love. This ain't Disney. Go ahead, say something, Dr. L, because I see you rolling all kinds of eyes. Go ahead. Somebody said dating scene in my 40s is a hot mess. What is it? Barbara said that dating is a hot mess in her 40s.
Yeah,
50s and 60s.
So I don't know how. I know how to say it. Well, I don't know how to say it. I know what I want to say, but I just.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
So having sex on the first date is an interview.
I didn't say it's always an interview. All I'm saying is we are grown, and I am not gonna judge, any of my female clients if they participate in, those types of activities on the first date. Like, we grown, like but you got to own up to that choice.
What leads up to the first date? We get your number. Let's just say in the dating app. We talk about the dating apps. I get your number in the dating app. We talk. I get your number on a Monday. We talk Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We decide we going on Friday. Get together, and you give the cookies on a Friday.
Mm-hmm. What's your backup question? Because you sound like you said yeah. Okay, so that happens.
What does that mean? You want to get your rocks off? Does that mean you just want to get your rocks off? Does that mean that you are not looking for anything serious? It was just an interview.
I think it could mean all of that. I mean, I know there's. I think it could mean every bit of it. I really think, I don't even sit here act like I'm the only woman in the world that has that opinion. No, but I do think it could be just, if this was a good option for the time, let's say that she hadn't had sex in months, years, or whatever, and this guy was a great talker, and of course condoms are used, and we're having safe, protected sex and all this other stuff. And if two adults want to get down that first night, I'm not going to tell them no. I'm not going to sit there and throw holy water on them. I mean, it is what it is. Like, people have to make the choice for them. I'm not here to judge anybody.
But they're making poor decisions and poor choices. You don't think those are poor decisions and poor choices?
I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm just saying they have to make the decisions for themselves, period.
So, do you think, and I'm curious to know what the audience thinks as well, that sex has deeper meaning? Sex, there's consequences to sex. There's consequences to it. Do you think that in this modern day and time that we have eliminated, whether it's through birth control, whether it's through getting a plan B or curing these diseases that we have eliminated the consequences, and so therefore we can just do what we want.
I'm gonna let Coach Marshaun answer that.
Hold on. Before you do, not only the physical consequences, but the emotional consequences. Listen, I'm a mature guy. I'm a mature guy, and I am not in my 20s anymore. When I was crazy, when I was on drugs.
Okay.
I was on drugs. I'm saying, let me just say it. Ladies, I think a lot of times are trying to move like men.
I knew you were going to say
and
that.
That is causing catastrophic problems because there's emotional, not only are the physical ramifications, but there are emotional complications to this that I think that are just being glossed over. And trying to do that and then entering into these spaces and then taking that trauma because he ghosted you, because you don't hear from him again, or because whatever, and then trying to get with someone in a serious relationship, there's consequences to this. Go ahead.
Okay, so listening to both of you speak, I feel like there is a little bit of a disconnect that both of you are kind of talking about a little bit of a different thing. So to address what Vee was saying, I think that it really depends on where the person is, right? If she's just, you know what, I have been single too long, so I'm gonna get mine, essentially. That might play into what you're talking about, women moving like men, Dr. L. So that's where she's at. You're not going to demonize her, right, for being where she's at. Just understand, like Dr. L is saying, I think that the conversation needs to be had that own up to what's coming after that, right? Take accountability for what's going to happen, for your choices that you're making. But yes, to answer your question specifically, does it have a deeper meaning? Sex to me has a deeper meaning. I think that a lot of times when we're throwing in sex too soon, it closes our eyes. And what I mean by that is to all of the things that we should be paying attention to, whether it's the red flags, right? Is he walking in his masculine? Is he telling the truth? Is she telling the truth? Are you having these deeper conversations? Most of the time when sex is introduced too soon, that's all it is. That's all it stays as. So most people don't get to the deeper once sex is introduced too soon. And I think that a lot of us are playing a dangerous game by introducing sex too soon. And I was a part of that group, which is why I see things differently the more mature that I am, because there was a lot of consequences and things that I had to own up to because of the choices that I made that I no longer want to do, right? So I'm learning from the lessons that I actually learned before, so I'm not repeating the same behaviors. And that's what I advise my clients with, for sure. Like, yes, if you're in the stage to say, I just want to go get mine, you know that something else can come from that. You know that something else can come. Go ahead, Doc.
So what I struggle with is this idea that we don't want to judge people for doing whatever. And I think that has been the downfall of the Black community. We have left shame in the dust. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to, it's okay. We don't want to degrade it. And listen, I wanted people run around feeling bad about themselves and hiding and all this kind of stuff. But listen, we got kids growing up and 20-year-olds making the same mistakes we made in our 20s. But at what point are we going to say, do something different? I told my son something different. The mistakes I made, I don't want to see him make those mistakes. So at what point are we collectively going to say, no, you shouldn't do this? Forget about what the sexual revolution says. Forget about what modern day feminism says. Forget about all that. Here are the ramifications of it. You're going to feel bad the next day. You could get pregnant. You can catch emotions. Here's all the negative things that can come about this. And I would rather see you not go through the emotional trauma, the physical trauma, the birth control, that. I would rather you see you not go through that. I know that you're feeling a certain type of way. I know that your body is screaming for this. I understand. We all get it. But there's things that are going on that are affecting all of us. And this idea that we don't live in a community that is what you do affects me.
Mm-hmm.
What you do affects me. I mean, I teach criminal justice, so I talk about this all the time. When this is what you do, even the privacy in your home, somehow affects me. If you beat your kids and you cause them trauma, and he goes to school and he shoots up the school, or he's rubbing off on my kid, that we affect each other.
We see where Dr. L stands. Now, A Peaceful Life says, when I meet a good-looking older single woman, what's older? But her value beyond sex becomes more critical once physical attraction is established. Crazy. Are you saying crazy and evaluating mental health next on the list? Oh, is she crazy? Yeah, no, I do believe, let me be clear, I do believe people should get to know each other, very clear. But I'm also on the stance, like, you look, and I'm huge on, there's always consequences to your action. You got to be prepared for whatever it is, right? But just go in whatever situation you're walking into it, just know what it is. Know what it is up front, but I know that we're all grown, and I encourage anybody and everybody to make their own decision. But regardless, always practice, you got to practice mindful, safe, interactions if you're going to just be out here doing stuff, right? But I understand, though, because there are people, and I've coached people who have not had sex in a long time, and they would like that intimacy. They would like that affection. They would like that, and I mean,
what comes at the end of that? What, you tell me from a woman's perspective. I'm willing to listen to both of you ladies. What comes at the end of that? You got your rocks off. Mm-hmm. Now what? You got the emotional temporary satisfaction. You got your rocks off. Okay, now
who said it was emotional? It was physical. We got our physical rocks
off,
right? Because
thank you for correcting. You got your physical rocks off. Now what?
And that's what it would be.
Okay.
That's what it, yeah. But to your point, that might be a woman too far into her masculine side, right? Trying to be the man. But I mean, I'm not for it. But I'm not as strongly against it. I'm still going to stand on, be grown, but be responsible. Yes. And understand that things come with consequences. Just know that and move. Now, if you have an anxious attachment style, let's say that you have anxiety when it comes to relationships, you absolutely should be the last one to participate in any type of physical intimacy with anybody, because that is a huge no-no. You absolutely need to date. You need to be courted. You need to get to know somebody, because you are going to mess yourself up mentally, if you do sleep with somebody too fast.
A vast majority of people are not running around here knowing their psychological profiles and all that.
Well, they do. They should. Well, that's not a psychological profile. That is just, what your attachment style is. If somebody has ever called you needy, oh my gosh, she's annoying. He's annoying. He always wants to be around like a little pet rock. Then you might have an anxious attachment style. Right? If he doesn't know, if he 80 years old and he's still not ready to settle down, well, there's something wrong, right? Then he might have an avoidant attachment style. These attachment styles come from our childhood. The vast majority of us are secure, but only about 50% of us, and that number is declining because of the toxic relationships that we are finding ourselves in. So you should absolutely know.
You're not full-heartedly condemning.
I'm not going to sit here and condemn, because there's all types, doctor, there's all types of relationships, right? Relationships involve two people, and those two people need to define what that relationship looks like to them. Just because I have an idea of relationships, it doesn't mean that my idea is going to fit everybody, because if that's the case, then I could be with everybody. But I don't fit everybody, and I don't align with how everybody thinks. So I'm not going to work for everybody. So those two people in that relationship need to define what their relationship looks like to them.
Except for when they define what their relationship looks like to them, it affects other people. When they go to work and they're having a bad day at work because of the relationship that they kept between them, now it's affecting the job. When they go to their parents' house and they had a bad day and they start yelling at their parents, it's affecting them, and they start beating their kids, and they break up, and they go bring that attachment style to somebody else and affecting them. We are connected, and what you do affects me. somewhere down the road, 8 degrees of 6 degrees of separation, 8 degrees, whatever it is,
Six.
6 degrees of separation, we're all somehow connected. And
Okay.
to pretend like we're not, and just say,
I ain't
okay,
pretending I mean not. So next
no,
time we have
I'm
sex,
not saying, I'm not saying,
I'm gonna see if you. I'm gonna call you to see if you felt it. Like if you're connected.
You
Next
know
time I
what?
have some sex, I'm gonna say, did you feel it? Because I
I did,
felt it. Did you feel
did,
it?
I felt it.
You don't even know what that was. But next time I participate in it, you're gonna be the first person I roll over and call. Okay.
You do that.
My gosh. Okay,
You
so
do
we out. So we out here. We'll continue the conversation. So we out here. You've been single a long time. Okay, so Coach Marshaun, since when you do start dating again, what do you think you're going to be actually looking for in let's say, will you be looking for an actual relationship? And what are some of the things that's going to be important to you when you're evaluating potential partners? Because you've been single a long time, you've been out of the dating game for a minute, even though let's imagine that it's not 2 years, it's 15 years. Because there are people who've been single a very long time. Do you think that your green flag and your red flag picker, do you think they're going to work well? Like, how are you going to be evaluating people?
So you're talking about me personally, right? Me personally.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
perfect.
yeah, for any woman, I'm gonna ask you to speak from a woman's perspective.
Okay. So I think that it really just depends on what the person is doing in their single time, right? Because us just being single and not evaluating, not reflecting, not thinking about the lessons, right? That we've learned, all of the things that the other party that you're no longer with, the ex, was telling you about yourself, the things that they didn't like. Those are some of the things that we should be working on during our time of singleness. So we're preparing ourselves to be in a better situation in order to attract a better mate. So me personally, I don't think that I'm going to have a huge issue getting back out into the dating game, because some of the things that slip through the cracks, if you will, that I'm saying, you know what, this was the part that I played in the demise of my own relationship. And I no longer want to play that part anymore. So I'm currently working on those specific things, because I don't think that you can be single too long. I think it's what you're doing in your singleness to prepare yourself to be ready the next time around. So that's what I'm personally doing, and that's what I highly encourage people to do. I do want to back up and say that what Dr. L was saying specifically, I don't think a lot of people know their attachment styles, and I think that is one of the issues for sure. That we do need to learn our attachment styles. And even if it's not the terminology attachment style, you know how you're showing up and or have heard how you're showing up from your ex, the things that he didn't like about you. And so now, if this is your first time hearing about their attachment style, do some research on them, right? So you can learn more about yourself and how you're showing up and why maybe your relationship and or marriage didn't work out. But again, learning, instead of all of the things that your ex-partner or partners, wasn't doing to you for you, what is it that you weren't doing? What is it that you didn't see? So you can correct some of those behaviors, so you can correct some of those habits, so you can stop attracting these toxic people.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Yeah, you may not know your attachment style, but you're right. Like, I'm a huge believer in certain, hopefully y'all didn't have an ugly breakup, with your last relationship, right? But I'm a huge believer in, like, I want feedback. Like, what could I have done better in the relationship? What was the main complaint about me? Because those are things, especially like I do, like when I look at hotel reviews or Airbnb reviews, if two people All it takes two people. Y'all say the same comment. I believe it about that hotel. And I'm going back to reviews to 2016, right? I'm reading them. I want to see what people say, like, oh, somebody saw a rat outside. Two people saw a rat outside. Then there's some rats outside, right? And so if two people, if I ask, I've been in a relationship and two people have said the same thing about me, then, I'm going to believe it. And clearly, I need to work on it. Right. And so maybe you don't know your attachment style, but you know damn well what people have been complaining about you about. So to your point, Coach Marshaun, in your singlehoodness, right, you absolutely should be working on becoming the best version of you. I'm big on that because here's the thing. And when I was single, I went on a few hundred dates and that's a few hundred men. Right. I ain't never had a problem. I've never had a problem meeting people, but I had an avoidant attachment style. So mine was different. So if you tried to touch me, I know my girlfriend, one of my best friends, made me, she sent me that meme this morning. She was like, that's you. I remember on a date, that man tried to hold my hand and it turned me all the way off. I was like, how dare you touch me? Right. Because I had avoidant attachment style. These are demons that I had to work on. So any intimacy, I just feared. Right. So touching me, kissing me, I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. I had to get professional help for that. Okay. So anyway, while you're out here dating and when I was out there dating, I met some really good men, but because I had some trauma within myself, I didn't recognize them. I couldn't because I was damaged myself. Now this was over 10 years ago, but I was damaged myself. So it's like, you have to work on yourself while you're single, because if not, you're going to keep attracting people that you think align with you, but they're aligning with the unhealthy you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I coach Dr. L. Okay. That's why you should know your psych, because we're connected, right? We're connected, boo. So we got to know, so we got to know these things. I'm just saying. Okay. Yeah, I know you want to say something. Go ahead, say something, Dr. L.
I'm just taking it all in. I agree with what you all are saying. You guys gave some good advice. Get to know yourself. Somebody put in here, we've been talking about attachment styles, blind spots, knowing yourself. I'm just not convinced that people are that astute. I'm just not convinced. I'm just not convinced that people, because you can learn, somebody can tell you something about your, what they didn't like about you, and you had an argument with you. Well, you was a jerk anyway. Well, I only did this because of it. So you're not really seeing yourself. So I think that feedback is important. Maybe sitting under a coach or going to therapy or whatever is important. They can give you different tests and stuff like that. But everybody can't afford that. Everybody don't have time for that. So I think that a lot of this, I think it's good stuff that you guys have given. But I just think that, unfortunately, life is sometimes more complicated than that. And, sometimes we forget, if I've been out the game for a little while, what we're talking about, maybe somebody told me something 2 years ago. I don't remember that anymore. Or I think I worked on it, but meanwhile, it's still there. So there's relationships are complex.
Okay. Well, I want to ask both of you a question. And then, we can wrap it up, but, let me see, how can I ask it? How important do you think, no, let me just say, do you think, and I'll start with you, Coach Marshaun.
You're going to start with her this time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to start with her. Yes. Ladies first.
Y'all both so shady.
Like, because Coach, like, men are quick to say a couple of things. And Dr. You probably done said it to a woman before, but men are quick to say, oh, she's single, something must be wrong with her, right? Oh, she crazy. She been single a long time. She must be crazy. Like, something wrong with her. Or like that thing that they used to weaponize and say to us and be like, that's why you can't get no man, right? Don't no man. And it's like that you single, don't nobody want you. Those types of comments. And it's like, you can't weaponize that no more, because a lot of women are choosing to be single, right? So Coach Marshaun, do you think, like, a woman who is single, do you think there's like still a negative stigma about her being single? And if so, like, is there something that she herself can be, I guess, doing to be okay in her singleness as she maybe prepares herself for a relationship? Like, how can she mentally deal with that? Because I know that stigma exists, right? But, what do you think about the stigma, and what can she, do, as people say those things about her, like she must be crazy.
Okay, so as far as the stigma, I know that I used to hear this a lot more when I was younger. The things that you're saying, I don't hear it as much, and I have to say it's been years since I've heard comments like that with something is wrong with her because she's single, etc. As you just stated, a lot of us, a lot of women in particular, and I don't care the ethnicity, a lot of women are choosing to be single because of
Mm-hmm.
just the trauma. It's just a lot of drama that comes with being in a relationship for most people. And I think a lot of that has to do with our inner work and our demons, as you say, V, that we haven't dealt with. But beyond that, I don't think that it is a huge issue right now.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as her working on herself and some of the things that she can actually do, I would. I love to Dr. L's point about money and people not having the money for it. So if that's the case, they have books on several different topics, and you don't even have to buy these books. You can go to the library and get some of these books or audio, whatever works for you in your life. So there's books, but then also there are plenty of journals for the person, where there are guided journals specifically where they have specific questions where you go in and ask these things just so you can have a deeper understanding of who you are. So investing something is better than nothing, to at least start to get underneath the superficial layer to why things are happening
Mm-hmm.
with you, why you keep doing these things, why you keep getting triggered when the man wants to go off with his buddies or just out of your space. Maybe that is you figuring out, oh, I do have an anxious attachment style. But then also, like, there is some starting, right? That's kind of like the starting that I like to suggest. But then I would like to also introduce therapy as well as coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that is a big thing in our community, where and I feel like a lot more women are leaning into it. Although I do know men that are leaning into therapy more. So I think that it's starting to happen where we're not like, well, I don't want these people in my business. I'll just figure it out and handle it on my own. I don't think that we have that um, stance as much as we had before. So those are some of the things that really that you can start doing to start peeling back these layers that we call ourselves. And I like to say the onion. Start peeling back
Mm-hmm.
some of these layers so you can get a deeper understanding of who you are and why you are, why you keep doing this,
Mm-hmm.
why you keep attracting, why you keep saying this, why you keep getting again
Mm-hmm.
triggered, and maybe you don't know the word trigger, but why you keep popping off whenever, or why you keep getting so defensive, right, when things happen to you. Why can't you ask the questions? How come you can't hold your own? What's going on with you and your emotions? Why you
Mm-hmm.
so hype all the time, and you act like a child throwing a temper tantrum when you don't
Mm-hmm.
get your way? So there are some things that you have to recognize within yourself. What are your weak areas, and start working
Mm-hmm.
on those weak areas.
Oh, absolutely. And I love what the fairy godmother, parent, and family educator said. Yeah, the more conscious an individual becomes, the more difficult it is to find others that are in alignment with you. I do. Yeah, I do believe.
I agree with that.
I agree. Like, yes, the more, because the more you are self aware of your stuff, like once you start elevating yourself, I mean, it's so many people that are out here not working on themselves. So
Hmm.
it's a whole lot of them out here, right?
Hmm.
And when you out here not working on yourself, and you got all these demons, you got a lot more options. There are fewer. It's true. There are fewer people out here with the growth mindset that are, working on themselves, and I done healed from them demons. So yeah, it is true, right? It is true. And there are people out here like that, though. I want to be very clear. There
Yes.
are people out here that you keep working on yourself, you level up so much that your energy, becomes this stable, loving, attractive energy. You will attract people along that. Yeah. So I'm huge into that. But Dr. L, you and I guess the same question, but I don't even remember the question really, but I'm gonna just say Dr. L.
So I think the question was, is it a stigma to be this way? I think that was the
Oh
question.
yeah, to be single and well, from a man's perspective, like because do you think more men are looking for? Let me ask you a different one. Do you think more men are looking for relationships than women as we
Yes
get
and no.
older?
Yes and
Okay,
no. Yes and no. I think that they want relationships, but I think unfortunately the quality of women has gone down. So therefore they're
I
saying,
know you ain't just say that up on my show.
I think it's true.
But wait, can you clarify what
I,
is the quality of woman? Before you start going ham, V, what's the quality of woman?
I
you
think
got two women up here. You gonna say the quality of women went down? Go ahead.
well, I'm not talking well, I don't think that I don't think that you two are in this what I'm
Category.
category. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I'm looking at a community standard, a community collective, and what does it take to make a community thrive and to go forward? Maybe, and people have been telling me, stop talking about it. It's over. The community's done. Just let people just do what they just do what they do. I don't know. I don't know how I go about that, but I just can't just let it go. I want the community to last. I want the Black community to be a positive type of force in the world, in the United States. I mean, our ancestors didn't flee, you know, slavery, segregation, racism, Jim Crow, all this stuff for us to just dwindle in the light because we can't get along. And I think that there's not enough women who want to be wives in this day and time, whatever that means. Are there not enough husbands? Yeah, absolutely. There's not enough men to be husbands. I mean, I think that was a deliberate attack by the government. I'm not going to go down that path, but I just think that the community needs to come together, and we can't have conversations when we lack the mindset of what it takes to build a strong community. I just have an issue with that. I have an issue with that. I mean, I don't want to be the old fogey who's wants to bring back, no sex.
Barefoot and pregnant.
Yeah, no sex before marriage and all that. But this has been a real problem for the African American community, in particular. It's been a real problem because it's not just okay, we're just having sex, but it's we got a baby mama issue. We got a baby daddy issue. We got child support issues. We got trauma issues. So that's why I'm saying I'm really not approved. I'm really not. But we know collectively from all the rates that I'm sure that you all have investigated, our prison rates, our unemployment rates, our STD rates, it's all linked to this casual sex that we got going on.
Okay. So we back on the sex.
But you asked me.
Okay.
But
But
no,
okay, doctor.
The question was, about the stigma. I don't think that's a stigma, but eventually was when I said that just you asked me about the men, men and women are there enough or something like that, right? And I said there's not enough quality women. Yes and no to the question of about men. I can't remember what you said, but
wanted to be married.
You said there's not enough
do they
women who want to be wild. Okay.
Do they want to be married? I mean, do the men want to be married? Yes. I think the vast majority of men want a wife. They want a good woman who knows how to be a woman, who knows her place, just like a guy should know his place. I'm not talking about barefoot and pregnant. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about supportive. I'm talking about knowing how to treat your man. I'm talking about knowing how to talk to your man. That's what I'm saying about a place. That's what I mean. I'm not talking about, you work, you do whatever you want. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying because we have gotten away from that, look what the damage has been to our community. That's what I'm saying.
I do not, I want to be clear. I do not disagree with you whatsoever. I come from a 2-parent household. I say it all the time. My parents are still happily married after 52 years. And so I am very, very grateful. Like I tell men when they were trying to date me, I don't come with any daddy issues. So don't bring that bullshit up over here. I know what love is. I've seen it all my life.
These men with daddy issues,
Yep.
have daddy issues or mommy issues, whatever, parental issues, because their parents were dysfunctional because they grew up in dysfunctional homes, and they raised dysfunctional children. So then again, you run into them, or Coach Marshaun runs into them, or I run into a woman, because and it's all a result of all the trauma and garbage that we haven't gotten healed from, therapy from,
I agree.
and dealt with. That's why I'm addressing it. So
No,
and now
I agree.
Now we got a situation where there's a lot of men going, whatever they're doing, passport bros, whatever, just taking it, because the only reason men are taking sex on the first night is because women are giving it up.
Okay, yeah. Okay, but okay. I'm not. I think that's a whole nother show, because I do not disagree with the whole. Yes, it's all cyclical. Right. All of it is right. What we saw our parents do, we tend to repeat. So if a woman grew up in a household with, without the love of her father, and then she gets with somebody where a young man, and he didn't have the guidance of a father, and then he doesn't know how to leave, because I get it. It's all cyclical. We do have that problem in our community. We are the least likely Black Americans are the least likely to get married. Right. And that is why we are missing out on generational wealth as well, because the greatest avenue to wealth is through marriage, right? And that has been proven time and time and time again. I do a whole speech on love and marriage, right? Because I am a speaker and I do that, right? So, but okay, I don't want to talk all about that, because I feel like that is a whole other show. I am pro marriage. Like I said, I've seen it all my life. Right. But I do want to address the comment, what you just said about, because you ain't gonna just come up here and put the women down. Like the women. Yes. Okay.
I put men down too. Come on.
Okay. But I know. But I'm going to just say this, but there's not enough women out. The women, the quality of women. What do you say? Yeah. The quality of women have gone down. Okay. So do you think, because I'm a woman, do you think that we women feel the same way about these men?
No, I know you do.
I'm about to say, I know you don't. I'm about to.
I know you think that, and you know what? I agree with you. I don't think there's enough quality. I don't think there's not enough quality. There's not enough quality men, because there was a sabotaging effect that went on to the men, and women, unfortunately, have grabbed onto that, and continue. Not you two. I'm speaking in generalities. That women have grabbed onto that and said, hey, we got our education, we got this, we got that, we got more houses than you all now. Our education levels are higher. Not much, if I may say that, but it's higher. And so now it's a celebratory type of tone, instead of, why don't we reach back and help these brothers become the best version of themselves?
Okay, how do we, because I do believe, and Coach Marshaun, I want you to chime in too, because I do believe that we do have a problem, right? When it comes to people just don't want to get married. It's just a piece of paper. And y'all, I'm telling you, when it comes to finances, you can call that piece of paper your bank statement, because it does absolutely impact your financial household. Two incomes going to be better than one. And if you get with a good man who knows how to lead, and a good woman who knows how to be that influence, because women are powerful. Y'all, we are powerful when you step into your powerful being, because there's nothing like a good man with a good woman by his side. There's nothing that man cannot accomplish without a strong woman, with an intelligent, motivating, and influential woman by his side. And yes, the two go hand in hand. But okay, so when we're talking about these relationships and dating, like, well, what can women, Coach Marshaun, Dr. L, like, well, how can we support each other then, so that, you guys see that there are great women out here? Because I know there's a lot of great women commenting right here. Coach Marshaun's a great woman. I'm a great woman, right? What are some of the things that we can do to connect with each other, so that we can identify the good men as well? Like, we do want connection. Ultimately, that's what we want. Like, okay, what are some of the things that we aren't, and I don't want the conversation to go 2 hours, but what are maybe some things you can leave us with, to say, okay, well, what can we do then? If you're thinking that the quality of women have gone down, like, I know it ain't because of the coochie on the first night, it's something else. What is it?
You're asking me or Coach Marshaun?
I'm asking Coach Marshaun. You can answer. What's the quality? What happened to the quality of men?
Okay, who are you asking, Coach? What?
Both of y'all, both whoever
Yeah.
wants who's ever ready to answer first.
Okay.
Coach Marshaun, you're answering for the quality, the men, the decline in the quality of men.
Mhm.
What is going on with that? And Dr. L, the quality of women. You're answering the just because we like last name first said we don't want your blood pressure to go. I don't want your blood pressure to go up,
You know
and
what?
you in a hot seat with two women, and you done said women, the quality of women has gone down. So what is it? What is it? And what can we do?
Okay, so because I think we about to keep waiting for each other. So
She said it specifically. She was talking to you that time. So go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
fine. Okay, so I think that and honestly, I'm gonna try to tie everything together because I think to your point, Dr. L, as far as I think a lot of it has to start with the individual person, like coming to grips with who they are, coming to grips with trying to figure out why do I keep doing this stuff and trying to break the generational curse. So we stop repeating the toxic habits and behaviors that our parent and or guardian that we saw doing. And so I think that coming to platforms like this, being educated, listening to like, okay, well, maybe there is something going on with me based off of just listening to the conversation. Maybe I didn't even think that this was a conversation for me, but I'm getting something out of it. So now, because we are planting the seed and others that are having real conversations, planting the seed in the people's head, now we can start doing something, or excuse me, the people that hear this can start doing something with the seeds that have been planted. And unfortunately, because the seed has been planted, it doesn't mean that they're going to start nurturing it and it's going to start growing right away. But the more that they lean into conversations like this and or trying to figure out what's actually going on with themselves, I think that we have a better opportunity to break some of these generational curses that are happening in our community. And to your point, it starts with you. It starts with you inside your home, right? And how your child or children are seeing you and how you're showing up to them, because you're right, we are connected. We are connected, and it might not be as deep as me feeling that you just had sex with somebody else, but there is some truth in how it is showing up in that manner, because you had a bad day and now everybody else got to feel it. But that's also goes back to you not being able to control your emotions, right? And so your EQ might not be as high as you think it is. Or maybe you don't know that time. I'm trying not to go down the rabbit hole. Okay, so some of the things that I think that your question was for me about men, right? The quality of men. I don't remember what the old saying is, but essentially it was something to do with like when life is good, right? We have a lot more softer men. When life is rough or bad, we have a lot more tougher, more masculine men. I think that a lot of that has come into fruition. Life was really good for a few decades, and a lot of men didn't stand up in their own. This is my opinion for sure. They didn't stand up and become the man, and a lot more women took on this masculine traits. Yes, society has broken down the Black family and send them off to prison and all this other things. We know that that plays a part in it. But because life was pretty good, it's a lot more softer, non-masculine men out here, I believe, in what I've heard, right? Versus the tougher, more masculine men that are willing to take the lead. So I think that a lot of that has to do with men like yourself, Dr. L, and other masculine men teaching / preaching and workshops and conferences to teach men how to stand in their masculine. That's my opinion. That's my take on it.
I would agree with particularly the part about the workshops and things like that. I think that we need to do more of that. I think that would be a great step in the right direction. Dr. Amos Wilson used to say that you're not going to get we're never going to recover the culture by having individual counseling sessions one at a time. I mean, it's just too many of us. We got too many different philosophies. We got to build institutions. We have to build institutions, the church, schools in particular, right? I'd like to see more Black-owned schools. Sometimes when I interview educators, like they talk about the curriculum and this, that. I'm like, why are you guys complaining about the curriculum? You're a teacher. Start your own school. I don't understand trying to get them to support us and all this. So I think we got to build our own institutions. I think we got to stop this war, this gender war about men against women and women against men. It is killing us. It is hurting us. It's driving more wedges. I don't like the celebratory tone that I think a lot of unfortunately a lot of Black women take. You know, we got more education, we got more degrees, we got this, and what are y'all doing? You guys are broke, dusty, this, that, and the other. I appreciate it. I had Dr. Diane Stewart and her book. I can't remember the name of her book, but Dr. Diane Stewart was on my show. And in her book, she talked about marriage being a Black woman's civil right. Again, the exact title of the book is escaping me. But in two different times in her book, she went through what happened to Black men. And I don't think that we have a collective memory. I'm going to do a video about, not about this, but about something different about this. We got to understand what happened to us collectively. And if we don't understand what happened to Black men collectively, their time in slavery, our time in Jim Crow, and then the time of civil rights, what happened to us? And that created this type of man who is almost helpless. So we got to recover that type of helplessness. And I definitely agree with you, Coach Marshaun, that this has created this soft type of man that we see. But it's this soft type of man that we see today as a result of engineering. We don't want we don't want the Black men in particular. I just played a video the other day about what happened to Haiti and what happened to Africa. And nobody, it gets less, those type of videos, when I do those, get the least amount of views. We don't know what happened. We don't care about our culture. We're not watching our culture. We're not trying to advance our culture. We don't understand why we're at each other's throats. We don't understand why our women are above our men. Dr. T.S. Johnson read a study that was done, I think it was back in the 1960s or 1970s, about the social engineering that went on in Jamaica. And it was a Jamaican doctor, PhD or whatever. And he went through what the authorities did in Jamaica to make sure that the female or the women in Jamaica were above the men in Jamaica. And when he went through that, now I had never heard that study. He read through it. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And so what happened was that was what they did there. And then they imported the same type of philosophy here. The fact that many women in our Black community are above their men is not an accident.
Right.
It's not an accident.
No, I agree.
It's designed for sure.
It's designed. The whole divide and conquer has worked for years and years.
It has worked.
It continues to work. I mean, they have, as someone who travels the world, and I have traveled to countries I never knew was colonized. I never knew were colonized by the Europeans, and I'm like, that's what they specialize in, right? I don't want to get all into it in this topic, but they elevate a group of people and they put a group of people down, whether that's light skin, dark skin, North, South, Vietnam, and so forth, right? They do that in Rwanda, like many places, they elevate a group of people and they put one down, and to say you're better than this group of people, and then they go at it, and then
but it's not groups of people. It was deliberate to separate us, the men from the women. They did it in Jamaica. So
that's because we are always going to be more powerful together than we are apart, right? And so to break apart the Black family has it is definitely something that has always been on the forefront of we gotta tear apart the Black family, because we are going to be stronger together than we are apart. That's just facts. But as long as people say I don't need a man, I don't want no man, and I don't need to get married, or as a man, as the more educated he becomes, he is 3 times more, as a Black man is more educated as he becomes, he is 3 times more likely to marry outside of his race. He is 3 times more likely to marry a woman that doesn't look like me. Right. So these are all conversations that I would, hey, you want the deep sided Vee Mindful, I could definitely go there because I do those speeches, because I think it's, the nucleus of the Black family has declined. And if we could just both realize that, y'all, we are better together than we are apart. That's just reality.
So when I say that the quality of women, let me try to clarify that. I'm not saying
clarify that, please.
There's certainly some good black women out there. So there's certainly good women out there. Period. I'm saying that they're not wives, and I try to make that very clear.
What makes
That
them not wives, though? If you could explain that,
because
please.
because of everything that I was just talking about, there haven't been geared or reared towards being wives, being supportive, being able to stand by your husband. Um, I don't need a man type of mentality. I'm just going to get mine type of mentality. It's just me and my kids mentality. This has been destructive. That has been more destructive. It's not your education. It's not your degrees. It's not your jobs. It's the mentality in the mind, not you two, but it's the mentality and the mindset that says I'm going to do for me. And if it don't work for me and my kids, that's the only thing that matters, right? So that's what I'm saying. That a wife is one who's going to stick by her husband, and a husband is one who's going to stick by his wife.
Yeah.
So whatever we're looking for, as far as what it's going to take for your personal relationship to work, that's great. But collectively, we got to build a culture where we enter into these relationships, where we stay in these relationships, and then we fulfill whatever roles we decide for our own personal household, fulfill those roles, and not talk about we don't need each other. Because we do need each other.
We do.
We do. We do.
We do. We do. And we see that on both sides. People saying, I don't know. We do need each other. Because like I said, I don't care who you marry. Like I am biracial. Let me be very clear. I am biracial myself, I'm Chinese and black. Right. And like I said, my parents are still married. I don't care who you marry and who you love, but, I still stand strong. I have raised 3 sons. They are all grown. And I will say, like, I would love for them to choose good women, not a woman that's all on social media. Now, I think, when I say social media, I'm talking about, leading with their looks and not with their brains, their intelligence, their personality. They want to show a titty and an ass cheek. And I'm like, son, that's not the woman for you. It may be something good to look at, but that's not the woman I feel like she's not going to be, riding with you through the tough times if she's, caring about her social media likes more than anything else. Right. But anyway,
makes those types of women not wives. They may look good. They might want to get married. They may want husbands, but they're not wives.
Okay. Well, we can agree that, we want our men to show up to be husbands. There's a lot of good women out here, and I know I know a lot of women, a lot of good black women, white women, Asian women, whatever. It's a lot of good women out here. We would like to see our men as well. We want to love and support y'all. We want to have y'all backs. I don't do any divisive content on here. We may joke, Dr. L, and we go back and forth, but we not neither one of us, the 3 of us. We don't do any divisive content on here, period. We don't do that, right? It's not man versus woman. It's the two, we need to come together. Man, woman, whatever your relationship looks like. So no, we don't believe in separating the sexes over here, but we joke about it, right? Because we are different, right? Men behave one way, women behave another. But we women would love for more men to want to be husbands, to want to be the leader of the households. And I promise you, if that man can lead and that man got our backs and that man can choose where we want to eat, like he can make decisions, right? I promise you, what you will get is a softer woman.
What does leadership look like? What is leadership?
Leadership looks like you not leading our house to hell. Like you're making good decisions for the household. You're putting us ahead of everybody else out there, before your friends, whatever. Like you got our best interest at heart, right? You can make good financial sound decisions, right? I'm not expecting him to be a financial banker and, a chef and this, and he can be everything, but I do expect him, if he's not strong in one area, he can be humble enough to say, V, I know you're strong in this area. Look, let's collectively come together. It's us against everybody else. That's what a woman, and I believe that's what a man wants. Like I want somebody putting me first, right? If we're married, ride for me, not ride for your mama. And I got sons, and I'm saying, and I got sons. So let me just say that very clearly. But it's us. If we're married, it's us.
Coach Marshaun, to you, what does leadership look like to you?
Oh, you ain't letting neither one of us go, huh? Okay, perfect. So no, some of what V said as well. Excuse me, all of what V said actually. But to add to it, it would be not only is he writing for us and being humble enough to have conversations to say that I'm weak in this area. Also, can you be there for me emotionally?
Yes.
Can you be there for me emotionally? If I'm having a down day, a down week, a down month,
Uh-oh.
hell, right? How can you support me in that and not just brush me off or, well, you can take care of that or you'll get better. Do what you need to do and then come back out to the world and then still take care of all of these things, right? If I'm down in any particular moment and or area within our lives together, can you stand in the gap? Can you stand in the gap? I should be able to stand in the gap as well. I am definitely not a one, even though I coach Black women specifically, I get in their butts just like if I'm coaching a man, I get in his butt. So I'm totally equal opportunity. I'm not bashing anybody, but there are some things that we would like to see. So can you stand in the gap where I can't in this moment, or I'm just horrible at it, period? And like V said, can we have those deeper conversations instead of you feeling like you have to be this financial guru? Because we always talk about as women, we want the financial stability and the protection. I got that. But maybe he's not there financially, but you are the financial guru, if you will. Y'all just have the conversation and say, okay, well, maybe finances is your area. And over a certain dollar amount, you shouldn't just be willy-nilly. Let's have a conversation about this. But being able to have these adult conversations, that's leadership to me, to add on to what V says. So everything that she said in addition to.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
Very good. Thank you.
you're very welcome. And I know that, because I could see it on your forehead, Dr. L, because I know, you and I have had many conversations, so I already know what you probably, we'll have additional conversations, because I know that you have told me many times you are not the one for a woman to come talk to you about, her day. That's what her girlfriends are for, right? So you ain't gonna talk to Dr. L about that. But
But you
we
know
are.
what? Can I jump in? I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say that's actually fine. Can we have a conversation to say that I know that I can't come to talk to you about this specifically? And this is where I think that the breakdown of our village, if you will, happen, right? And a lot of our relationships present day, we think that our partner should be everything,
I
cover
know.
everything. And I don't think that that's necessarily fair. So if that's your stance, if you say it to your partner and she's willing to accept this part of you, a-okay. I literally, I have a brother. Him and his wife have been married close 20 plus years. And he was talking about how when they first got together, he had a conversation with her to say, hey, I am not the man that does the birthday, the Christmas and the holiday stuff. I am the man that if I want to get you a gift today, I'm gonna get you a gift and I don't have to be held to, oh, today is Valentine's Day. What am I getting? What about if I want to get you a gift on February 12th? And then you don't see anything, right? So he still gets her and they do those things. The point is that he had the conversation with her. And at this point, she obviously accepted it. But I think that that's a part of you being able to put yourself out there. You're either going to say yes or you're going to say no. And giving the person the opportunity to say okay or not.
I agree. Put it out there. Communication. Muy
Absolutely.
importante. Yes. Yes. Very, very much so. Well, I want to thank everybody because we got a ton of comments and I'm trying to read them and put them on the screen. Can you guys see all the comments, Coach Marshaun, or is it just me or
No,
only the ones that I'm putting over here?
That's it. Yeah.
I can see them. I can see them all. You got to go to comments, Marshaun, on the right side of the screen. There's a private comments.
You're right. I forgot about that. Thanks, Doc.
Oh, okay. Well, we got a lot, y'all, and I want to say thank you so much for everyone tuning in to tonight's conversation. It's today Monday, yeah, on a Monday night. So we definitely appreciate it. Coach Marshaun, I'm gonna tag you in the video, and we'll tag each other because we are live on each other's channels on YouTube. We all have our own YouTube platforms. So by all means, y'all, please like and subscribe to all of our content. Watch our content that resonates with you the most. I don't know if you have any final words, Dr. L, Coach Marshaun, that you'd like to leave our audience with.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a great conversation. Hope I wasn't too offensive. And I know Vee's going to call me and chew me out again.
No, that's why I love having conversations with you. You and I we go at it, but ultimately we do have a friendship outside of YouTube. We do have conversations outside of YouTube. We do get along, and he's actually a wonderful, wonderful human being. That's why I have you on here. So Coach Marshaun, then.
Just pretty much the same. Thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation. I hope to do it again with both of you. Dr. Ray, I feel like I'm just gonna put it out there and put you on the spot. I feel like I should be on your channel. I think
you should be on the channel too. So
yes,
you know what? I'm listening to how you speak and some of the things that you're saying, and they don't offend me. Actually, I wholeheartedly agree with. I probably about 98% of what you said. They don't offend me at all.
I gotta work on 2% then. So
maybe 90. I'm gonna say 90. Okay, Dr. L hurt my feelings in that episode of younger women, older men. Okay, he hurt my feelings, and I damn near cried. I did kind of cry. I know you felt terrible after that. I did. I almost cried. I mean, I had to pull the tears back. But you know what? You spoke your truth, and like always, I appreciate that. You know, it is what it is. Like what's her name? Tracy Ellis Ross just said that she'd like to date younger men. So
where's that clip at? I want to see this clip. I gotta see this.
I thought I sent it to you. Didn't I send it to you? No.
So.
Okay. Well,
did you email it to me? Did you email it to me?
No, I think I sent it to. I texted to you.
Maybe you did. No, you did. No, you didn't. You definitely did.
Okay. Well, then I'll do that. But yeah, she came out and said she likes to date younger men. I ain't knocking it. Y'all do just be open-minded. I think, I'll leave everybody with that. Like, as we get back out here on the horse and get out here and date, y'all, what you liked in your 20s and your 30s may not look the same in your 50s and your 60s. Okay. Be open-minded. If you wanted that, that small waist, I'm telling you, look, we women gone through menopause. We holding that, the fat in our bellies now. Like that flat 6-pack abs may not exist, as much in our 50s, y'all. We can't be as picky as we were. I'm not saying settle. I'm saying be realistic to what dating looks like today in your age group versus when you were 19, 20, and we all had flat stomachs. Okay, so on that note, y'all, thank you again very much for joining tonight's show. Coach Marshaun and I go live every 3 weeks, Monday night. And Dr. L, you'll have to join us from time to time on your somebody said on your Passport Bros travels. Okay, so
y'all, I'll put your picture up here.
I don't know. Can I put that picture out? Let me see. Yeah. I cracked up and I sent this to him earlier.
Wow.
But look at the little blue pills. I said, my gosh. But thank you guys very much. Y'all, everybody have a wonderful rest of your night. And until next time, y'all, talk to you later. Bye-bye.